Twitch. I know this is a super early day and there's no intro, but like I told you last week, we are here at H&H Americas. It's our second year being here, second year in the Creator Studio, and being able to do some live streaming, which is super fun and awesome. I am so glad that this convention has been more forward with their technology and trying to engage with their community and allowing creators like myself to be able to use this room. And today, for my special guest, we have Kate Colleran. Say hi, Kate.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so the camera's there. It's saying hi to you.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Didn't even notice.
I know, right? It's sneaky in here. They have all
is.
the nice high tech and everything.
I know, and it's black on black, so
it is. So it's
like stealth.
It is. So, Kate, you're a fabric designer, quilt designer.
Yes.
You're amazing, in my opinion. But,
thank you.
I'm biased, so.
Yes, well, you've done amazing work with my fabric, so.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to have Kate, is because we've been collaborating on 3 projects so far. No, 2 projects?
Mm-hmm.
And then a third one coming up, which that's redacted. You guys aren't allowed to know anything really about that, but it's coming out next year. So it's going to be exciting. I'm really excited for it. It's more,
I'm so excited.
I'm really biased. I love your fabric.
Thank you.
You've only designed with batiks, or have you ever designed with any other like normal cottons or anything?
So, funny story, my very first line with Island Batik was actually a digital line. So they started with, they had a digital line for just a little while.
Right.
Where they were doing some digital prints, trying to figure out if it was going to work. And so I got to do a line. It was called Blooming.
Wow.
So it was very florally kind of thing, but a slightly more modern floral.
Right.
So it was fun to do. And then I started doing the batiks. And the funny part is how it's so different when you design for a digital line versus designing for a batik.
Right.
You know, how you set up your files, how you pick your colors. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different process.
I didn't even know Island Batik did any digital. Like, that must not be something they're still doing.
They're not. They had some trouble with shipping. And of course, the digital line came out right at the start of COVID, or right in the middle of COVID.
Right.
And so they had some shipping issues. They had some issues with the printing. And I don't know whether they're ever going to go back and try it again.
Right.
But they had some success with a few of the lines they did.
Right.
So,
Well, I'm glad that, because out of all the fabric companies, Island kind of has this like feel of very tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been very interesting working with them, and they're very structured, and
yes.
yeah. But they've been pleasant to work with for sure as a designer.
Right. And sometimes the structure is helpful. Sometimes it's restrictive. Do you know what I mean? So some fabric companies allow more, more leniency with their designers.
Right.
Others are very, no, this is what we're looking for. This is what we want. And Island is somewhere in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
So normally they don't like you to design fabric like in the same colorway twice in a row. They want something new and fresh. But I was able to sort of sneak in 2 lines that were different but complemented each other really well, which was so nice because you could put pieces of my wing things together with pieces of my breezy, and they would have gone together.
Yeah, and I noticed that at market because it was very harmonious. Your booth,
yes.
Even though you were advertising 2 different fabrics,
yes,
it was very on brand and very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and that was really fun. Like the next time, my 2 lines don't go together, so I'm probably just going to have to pick one because otherwise, it's just going to be like, wait, that doesn't go with that.
No,
you're going to look at the booth.
It's a juxtaposition for sure, right?
Yeah. Like that, or I have to put like a big black thing down the middle, and you've got this side and you've got that side.
That'll be interesting to see how you decorate your booth. I honestly love seeing how everybody does booths at market. My first market was in 2016, and going from 2016 to last year after COVID and all the change, it was the same, but it was different because like when I went in 2016, everyone seemed a little more outlandish with their booths and more themed and more decorated, and they gave awards out. And like I remember Elizabeth Hartman that year won for her booth because she had all these fabric succulents and it was beautiful.
It was amazing.
And it's like the booths were nice, and some really lovely ones, but it just didn't have that same whimsy as it had in the past.
No, I mean, I remember one year at Quilt Market, somebody actually had like one of those vintage campers.
Yeah.
And you
that's
could go
so
into the
cool.
vintage camper, and she had like all projects in her fabric inside the camper.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing. But you're right. Now, after COVID, everyone's scaled back.
Yeah.
So even fabric companies that used to have these huge booths and these huge displays, they've all scaled back, and they're smaller booths. And I think the thing that I want to remember, I guess I shouldn't say we, I can't speak for anybody else, I can only
Right.
speak for me, but I want to remember that even a small booth can be interesting.
Yes.
Even a small booth can have some fun touches.
It can be engaging.
It can be engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just even walking around this morning already, I saw a display and I thought to myself, that's what I should have done with my little leaves at Quilt Market. That would have been amazing.
I haven't gotten a chance to walk the floor yet. I can't wait to go and see and kind of scope things out because I was on the floor yesterday and to do some drop-offs, and like even the places that I did drop-offs for, their booths were smaller than they had been the previous year.
Yeah.
Like they're doing more with less.
They are. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think it's okay when you actually still do more.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because just because it's smaller doesn't have to mean it's boring.
Right, exactly.
It can still be engaging. And that's what I want to try to remember. Like, I think my booth at Market worked well because things
Yeah.
went together. I also think I overstuffed it just a little.
I don't think so because
No?
it was engaging and people were constantly stopping because
Mhm.
you were doing demos as well
Yes,
for
yes.
your folding and everything.
Yeah, for my
so-
braid templates.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know. For me anyway, I like that sense of whimsy and I like seeing all of the things. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be able to, because we're walking the floor a couple times like through the whole event. If I'm going to keep walking and I want to keep stopping, I want to see something new every time.
Well,
Right?
and you want something that's going to get people to stop.
Right.
I mean, that's what we want. We want someone to say, "Ooh, look at that," and
Right.
stop at it. Because I've noticed. And have you had a booth at Market?
I have not yet.
Okay, so when you're like in the booth, we're constantly, of course, people watching.
Yeah, right.
So we're watching the people going up and down. I can always tell who's like on a mission. They don't want to talk to anybody from any other booth. Do you know what I mean? So what you want is something that's going to make them, because they weren't planning to stop at your booth,
Right.
make them stop.
Yeah.
Do you know what
kind
I
of
did?
hook them in. What did you do?
Okay, so one year, this was years ago. It was back when I had a business partner, and we were at Market, and it was over Halloween.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people would dress up at Market in costume.
Right.
And so all I brought was stuff so I would look like a school crossing guard. So I had like one of those bright vests, and I bought one of those little things which said, stop for children, and I X'd it out and wrote stop for quilters.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
But the other thing I had was a paddle. The crossing guard paddle
Yeah.
that says stop. And if it got really slow, I would just stand in the middle of the aisle and hold the paddle up at somebody to make them stop.
Oh my gosh. I bet you that caught people off guard, and that's
It
like the
did.
best way to get them is like make them stop and break their attention.
Exactly. And some of them would just laugh and say, all right, you got me. Give me your 1 minute spiel. And other people were like, yeah, okay.
Okay, you're a little too. Those aren't my kind of people. Like,
No.
if you're gonna be like that, it's like you can keep walking. It's
yeah, because
okay.
you're not going to like my stuff
No,
anyway.
obviously, we're not gonna get along. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not going to mesh. But it was great because some of them would just crack up because I would just be like, and I wouldn't even say anything. I'd just hold up the paddle.
And they knew immediately.
Mhm.
That's so fun.
It
Oh my
was fun.
goodness.
It was fun, and it made it lighthearted.
Yeah.
Because one of the things you don't want it to be is you don't want it to be draggy. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it is a show where we're trying to sell, but you also want it to be fun and lighthearted
Right.
and have a good time.
Exactly.
And if it just gets too draggy and serious, I mean, these are crafts. This is fun
This is
stuff.
supposed to be our hobby, our love, our passion. Like, if we're
Exactly.
gonna be like all mopey about it, like, why the hell are we doing it, right?
Exactly. Yes, I know. It's like, why are you here? It's like when
You
you go
look
past somebody's
miserable.
booth and somebody's there.
Oh yeah, they're just sitting there. They don't want to engage you. Nothing. It's
They're
like,
in the
why
back
did
of the
you
booth on
pay
their phone.
all this money to have a booth.
Right. I know. Exactly.
We're funny that way.
They are. They are. I mean, I have this crazy rule for myself, which is I don't sit down at my booth.
That's a good rule.
Because I am more easy to engage if I'm not sitting down, slumped in a chair.
Right.
I'm standing I'm relaxed, but I'm standing. And therefore I can move, I can get to somebody, I can be engaged. Do you know what I mean?
And it's more on eye level. You get that eye contact immediately instead of like that awkward like.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, unless they're really tall, then of course it's awkward.
Then it's still awkward. Yeah, I'm short, so everybody's tall, so it's okay.
I know. Well, and I'm not tall. I'm just average woman's height.
Yeah.
So, but I was, or at least I used to be. Now the average woman's height's taller.
And we're shrinking as we get older. Yeah.
That too. So I was recently teaching on this cruise, and there was a bunch of ladies who just happened to be shorter than me. So we're standing chatting, and one of them looked at me and goes, "You're so lovely and tall." I was like, "Oh God, I never hear that."
Oh my God! Like mark that. You'll never hear it again.
Thank you. Could you put that in writing?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that.
It was so fun.
How was your cruise, by the way? Like, it was your first time doing a quilty cruise, right?
It was my first time even on a boat.
Oh,
well,
my
a cruise boat, I should say.
Right.
I've been on a boat before. And it was good. I was a little worried because I have been on boats before.
Yeah.
And yes, my poor uncle brought us kids on a boat one time, and he had business people that he was trying to impress.
Oh, that was probably the worst mistake he ever did.
And Kate, right in front of the business people. Oh, yeah. So I was a little worried. But I did okay.
Yeah.
My son, who works for Disney, had been on a Disney cruise.
Okay.
And he also, like me, gets a little seasick.
Yeah.
And he told me that if he took the Dramamine before he got on the boat, so he already had it in his system when he got on, he was fine. The one time he forgot to take it before he got on, he wasn't good. And I thought, all right,
wow.
So I was very religious, took it every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I did pretty good. I was really happy. And the students were great. We had a lot of fun teaching them. It's just a lot to teach because it's a big group. I think we had 77 quilters.
That's a lot of people.
So I was teaching half of them each time I taught.
Wow.
So it's a lot of people, and you want to give them that individualized attention.
Yeah, because that's why they're doing it. They want to get connected to you.
Right, and they want to hear what I have to say. And of course, when you're teaching somebody that I can say it this way, and A, B, and D get it, right?
Yeah, and
but
it's
the
that
other
C,
didn't get it when I said it that way. But I've got to know that and be able to then reframe it for them in a way that resonates with them.
Right.
But when you've got that many people, it's
hard.
So hard.
Well, at least you weren't doing it alone, right? Because Tammy was with you.
Right. Tammy was with me. So there were 2 rooms, and we had people all set up in the rooms. So half the quilters were in one room, half were in the other. So Tammy taught in this room one day, and I taught here, and then we switched. So, but it was good, and it was also fun because Tammy and I teach differently. Yes. We also have techniques that we like to do differently.
Yes.
And so when I was teaching, I said, okay, so now you guys, I'm telling you to do it this way. And when you go to Tammy, she's going to tell you to do it the other way. And it doesn't mean that either way is wrong.
Right.
You find the way that works for you.
Right.
Yes.
Because there's 100 different ways to do everything. And it's
absolutely.
Like you get people, like when I try and demo a certain like applique and they're like, well, that's not how I learned it. Or that's not how it's supposed to be done. I'm like, There's no supposed to.
Thank you.
I'm not a pro clutcher. You do you. You know what I mean? Like.
And I tell people that all the time. Like I tell them, like if I'm teaching, and of course I do a lot of basic quilting stuff in my quilts. So if I'm teaching them half square triangles, right? I tell them the way I like to do it. You know. And I say, but there's other ways to do it. If you have a way you like better, you go for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'm going to show you the tips and tricks that work for the method that works for me.
Right.
I tell it people all the time, I'm a wobbly sewer. So I need some help. And so this works for me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it went well.
So.
Yes.
I'm sorry that it's such a short stream. And
that's okay.
We're not done yet, but
okay.
I'm like trying to like prep you because I'm gonna get you some questions and stuff.
Oh.
One of my questions is, which was the first line of fabric you ever designed?
The first line was the digital blooming.
Really? Okay.
Yep. And then the second one was called Paisley Got Mod. That was my first batik line.
Ah, okay.
And actually, I designed them right around the same time, which was interesting. Yeah. So blooming came out first.
Blooming came out first. And so then, out of all of the fabric that you've designed so far, which is your favorite?
Oh, that's such a good question. Yeah. I'd have to say that that's already out, my favorite was Sea Cookies.
Sea Cookies. I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, well, I can show you one little piece of it.
Yes, please. I love shows and tells.
So my friend at Studio Cat, I don't know if you know her, she makes tons
I've
of
heard
bags.
Studio Cat, yeah.
So she used some of my fabric.
Oh, wow.
This was sort of the pinks and the blues, and she made this adorable little bag.
That's so cute.
But Sea Cookies was based on seashells. And mostly the sand dollar. So when you think about it, you can see
it looks like a sand dollar.
Right, and then I had others that were big sand dollars, and there were some deep blues, but it was all these blues and some of the pinks and the aquas. And
I feel like this line is going to be a really good companion to the next. Yeah.
So my other favorite is the one that we can't talk about
yet.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Guys, it is like so luscious and so beautiful. I'm so in love, and you guys are gonna go nuts for this fabric.
Thank you. I like the one that's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me excited. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. When the bolts arrived, I was just like, oh, yes.
I know. I've got a box of 22 pounds of fabric sitting at home, just begging for me to get started on it. It's like, soon, my precious, soon.
I know. It's a lot of fabric, but you know, it's just so fun. I mean, it's been interesting, and I know this isn't part of your question, but it's been interesting designing with colors that maybe I wouldn't have designed with.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the one that came out, or is in the spring catalog right now. Mm-hmm. So shops are looking at it. Shops are hopefully ordering it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Right, and then it'll be out in, I think it's January. The one that's Misty Mornings. Sort
right.
Of the
Is it really going to be out in January? I thought it was coming out sooner than that.
I thought so too, but it's not. I just looked on their website and it says January.
But the new line that we just got is supposed to be out in February.
Yes, because you know why? This is the weird thing about fabric, right?
Right.
So every time they do their lines, it's a fall and a winter line,
right?
A spring and a summer line.
Right.
So what happens is if you have a summer line followed by a winter line, a fall line, they come out like back
immediately.
To back. Yes, because they're backing up. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So if you have a spring, summer, so you have a spring, and then a fall, winter. If you have a spring and a winter, there's like 9 months between them.
Right.
But if you have
a winter, spring,
a summer, and then a fall, they're back to back. So this is a summer and a fall, and that's why they're coming out so close. Wow. Isn't that weird?
It is really weird, and it's really hard to keep straight in my poor little goldfish brain. Like, I'm like struggling so hard. It's like, when can I show this? When can I share this? When can I?
I know, it's so confusing. That's the part that I find the most confusing. And because we're always working with multiple lines.
Yeah.
So Winged Things came out in January. Breezy came out in March.
Right.
We're showing Misty Mornings in the spring catalog.
Yeah.
The next one's going to be shown at Fall Market.
Yeah.
Those two are going to come out back to back, just like Breezy and Winged Things are back to back. But I've already submitted colorations for the line after that.
Oh my goodness gracious!
And I
How
have
do you
designs
keep it straight?
I know.
Oh
right?
my goodness!
It's very confusing. I'm sorry, but it's very confusing. Because literally, you're working on like 6 lines at once. I know, right?
And you wonder why people get burned out. Like, it is a constant go, go, go. And not only are you a fabric designer, but you're a quilt pattern designer too.
Yes.
And so you're working on all that at the same time. Like, how do you?
Yes.
And you're a one-woman show, right?
I am a one-woman show.
How in the hell are you doing it? Tell me your secret.
Well, I have no life. Luckily I'm not a party girl. So,
right.
Obviously, look at me. And that helps. But I think part of it too is, my business isn't going to grow huge because right now I'm still the one who packs and stuffs the patterns and ships them out. I do everything in my business.
Right.
I just hired, actually my daughter-in-law. To go into my website and do some SEO for me with my blog
be
posts.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll see if I can get her to start doing a few more other things. She's
gradually
across the country, so she can't do hands-on.
But not for long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for long.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah. But so, how do you juggle everything like that? Like, you must be really good at planning and doing calendars and things like that.
I try to be. Sometimes I definitely start with schedules and, but I do fall off the map. I will admit
Right.
to that. The one thing I have help with is the accounting.
Okay.
So my husband now does the accounting for me, and that is huge because that is not my strong suit.
Right.
You do not ever want me doing that. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, and I do have 2 different people who edit my patterns.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I do have help. So I do, have that kind of help.
Right.
Yeah. So I hire out for 2 different editors, and by doing 2, one catches stuff that the other didn't catch.
Yeah.
And both of them tell me I do a really good job, which is nice. But I am, and I've told them what I'm known for. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because none of us are perfect.
No.
And that's why you have editors.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do the best possible job with these patterns because I don't want somebody cutting something the wrong size.
Right.
And we do our best to make sure that we have checked everything, which is why I have 2 editors.
Yes.
So it's like, double something. I don't know what, but
Right.
not double jeopardy, but something else.
I mean, it's nice having 2 eyes on it because I know what I'm strong at and I know what I'm weak on.
Mhm.
And I only have one editor right now. She's lovely and she's in the UK. But I'm a terrible speller. And I know, and right now for me, a lot of it's copy pasta. Like I have a couple that I've done, so now I can copy certain elements and everything.
Yes.
And the poor Adele, I will accidentally copy from an unedited version, so it'll be the same mistake over and over and over. And she hasn't slaughtered me yet, but yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny. So I'm starting to be able to tell people this a little bit that I'm writing a book.
Yeah.
I'm
so excited.
And all of it is now with the editors.
Yes.
But when I was first working with my editor, I said to her, okay, you have to remember, I was a nurse for 30 years. I haven't written a complete sentence. And so she was going through like a couple of my chapters and she would just keep adding the.
At least you gave her fair warning. Like, you
I
know
did.
enough about yourself that you know.
Yep, and there were certain things I just kept doing. And it was so funny. I'm like, I'm trying to remember. Because, when you write a pattern, we do write it a little bit more cryptic.
Right.
But when you write it as a book, they really do want it more complete sentences.
And more floral and more...
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And being a nurse, we didn't write things like that. We
No.
wrote lungs clear, temp 98.
Yeah, because with a pattern, they don't want any floral. They want you to get just to the point. Give me the facts. I don't want to, I don't care about your life story. I'm getting the hell out. Let me just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they want full sentences in a book. I mean,
How
what's with that?
dare
Oh, I
they?
know, seriously. I haven't written a full sentence in a really long time. But I did warn her, so she was
Right.
cracking up.
She knew. She
Yeah.
knew.
I would say, she was changing the word to toward all the time.
Oh, my
I was
God.
like, oh yeah, that one, I'm trying, but babe, I just
No,
know.
it's not in my normal vocabulary, so why
No.
would I talk like that?
Exactly. But it's so great to have all these editors who are then just, cleaning up my mess.
Right? And it's like, it's out of your hands now. So,
Yeah.
when can we expect, the book? The
Okay.
news and everything.
So the funny thing is, it's already on pre-order on Amazon.
Is it really?
It is.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Now you got to tell me what the book is called.
Okay, so it's Patchwork Braids.
Patchwork Braids. Okay, you
Yep.
guys write that down.
Yep, so it's 13 different projects.
Wow.
And it's on pre-order at Amazon. Shops will be able to start ordering it in a couple of months, and then it'll be out in January of next year.
Okay.
So they do all these things so far ahead. It's kind of like fabric.
Right.
Everything is so far ahead.
Mhm.
But printing takes a long time. So
It
we've got to get
does.
through the whole editing process. But I'm so excited.
Now, do you know if it's gonna be hardcover and since it's available for pre-order,
Just soft cover.
soft cover? Okay.
Yep, just soft cover.
So no digital versions or anything like
They
that.
should have a digital version, I think, eventually, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
I think it will, but I think right now all they're pre-selling is,
soft cover.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
That's still exciting. That's
It
super
is, because
exciting.
usually I think they do the digital on their website.
Mhm.
I don't know if they do that with Amazon, but it is, I know. My editor didn't even know it was up yet.
Really?
Yeah,
How
it
did
was
they not know?
Well, because, you've got different departments.
Yeah.
So the people who put things up on the website and put it in the catalog, did the sort of dump to Amazon of
Mhm.
stuff, and she didn't realize mine was already in it.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, so we were just going through, because I was saying, I'm going to be at H&H. Do I get to talk about it? Because I haven't been able to talk about it except with a few industry peeps.
Yes, right?
And she's like, you can start to mention it, but, it's not available yet for shops to order. And she's like, but let's see Amazon. She's like, oh, it's here.
The fact that she had to go to Amazon is just funny.
I know.
I love that.
It was great. It was great. So yeah, so it's coming out. I'm so excited for it. It's a lot of fun. It's all about braids because I've got those 2 tools
Yeah.
that help you cut them, and I've got a simple way to sew. But then we did all sorts of different things. So taking it beyond just a typical quilted braid, which is just a piece angled and a piece angled and a
Right.
piece angled. And then we added squares to it, and then we pieced strips and then cut the braid, and just did some different things. So it's fun.
That's exciting because I know there were a lot of braids at your booth at Market, and
Yes.
they're just so clever, guys. You guys have no idea. Like, you had these beautiful purses that had the braids going on. It was just like...
Well, and what I love about it, it's kind of fun. But what I love about doing a braid is it looks more complicated than it is.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
is super simple sewing. The only thing
That's
people...
like how I feel with raw edge applique. Like,
Yes.
everybody says it looks so difficult. It's like, it's not. It really isn't.
No, it's not. It's beginner friendly,
Yeah,
right?
It really is.
Yeah. Well, and your applique is so fun. I was walking by the Alysso booth and I'm like, look at that.
My little bags are sitting there. I've got
Yep.
a new one up there on the top shelf. I'm so happy.
Oh, they're so cute.
Alyssa's so wonderful. They're wonderful to work with.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. It's nice to have good partners. It's nice
Really
to feel
is.
like, they're willing to support you as you support them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because a lot of people in this industry are supportive. Some are competitive.
Some are. Yeah, it really is dependent on who you know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
I've been very blessed to be able to meet you and know you and have you as like a mentor in a way.
Aw, thank you.
Because you've been very generous with your knowledge and your time, and like we meet like almost every Monday for a body doubling group, and just like everybody in that group they're so like very generous with like information and knowledge and just sharing.
Yes.
Because like I'm over here like in Timbuktu trying not to drown because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing most of the day. I was like, okay, we're gonna try this. Let's throw it at the wall. It'll be okay.
What? That's a lot of it, isn't it? It's you just don't know what's going to take. I mean, I can design the most beautiful quilt, and it may never sell. Doesn't. And the hard part is stepping back from saying, "Oh, well, it's not pretty," because it is.
Right.
It just didn't resonate, or it just didn't find an audience. Sometimes with this business,
Or just didn't click at the right time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're all constantly trying to figure out how do we find people that will like what we do, because we all do good stuff.
Right.
But we have to find the people that what we do works for them.
Right, exactly. And it's so funny to have such a supportive group around me that like say, "Oh, your stuff is great. You're doing great." And businesses look at me and they're like, "Oh, this is great." But then finding that community.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just takes time.
It does take time, and I think it changes over time, like where you can find them. Like we're always battling, I think, in some way, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but battling social media.
We are really. I mean, it works for us, but at the same time, not, because the algorithm may work for us today, but it changes immediately.
Right. Like I was talking with one of my friends. We were just talking about some social media stuff. We were talking about Instagram and Facebook and blah blah, and having a newsletter. And for whatever reason, Instagram and Facebook, I do okay, but I just don't get the audience. But my newsletter is great. Like I went from posting on Instagram and Facebook about a little free quilt block I'm doing with a friend of mine, Chris Poor of Poorhouse Designs, who's amazing.
Yeah.
So creative. And we're doing this little thing, and I got some people who
It's
came.
the cuppa, right?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
The coffee clash with Kate and Chris.
Yes. I love coffee. You guys know I love coffee. It's up my alley.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then I posted it to my newsletter group.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of people went and got the block, and I thought this is where for whatever reason,
It is.
that's what works for me.
Well, and so that was like one of the biggest things that I learned early was you don't build on property, like you don't build a house on property that's not yours.
Right.
And that's what social media is.
Yes.
Is we put all this time and effort into it, but the newsletter is our neighborhood, that's our house, right?
Right.
But the trick is like, how do you build your house? Like,
Right.
how are you adding people? And right now, for me, like, it's social media, because
Right.
I'm not able to get out. Because you've done a lot of workshops and classes and cruises and stuff. So you've had that opportunity to grow it over the years.
Right. Yes, I did a lot, and like I had back in the day, back when Craftsy first started, I had a Craftsy class,
Right.
and things like that. Of course, I had no idea what I was doing when I did that class. They walked up to me at market and they said, "So, we really like this concept you have going here with these couple of quilts. Would you be interested in doing a class on Craftsy?" And I'm like, "Well, what is Craftsy?"
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. And then I was like, "Sure." I had no idea what I was doing, but I've learned to say yes. I mean, you have to be strategic.
Right.
But I've also learned that even if I don't know how to get to where they're asking me to go, I can figure it out.
Yeah.
So you just say yes, and then you figure it out. It was like designing fabric. It took me a full year to submit designs after they asked me to do it.
Wow.
Because I had no idea how to do fabric.
Yeah.
I had no idea how to create
And it isn't like they're teaching you. They expect you to know. Otherwise, why are they asking you, right?
Yep. But I said I would love to do that. Probably could have done it sooner, but there's always other projects.
Yes.
And then there's always the gremlin that sits on your shoulder that says, "You're not a designer, you were a nurse. What do you think you're doing?"
Oh my God, it's hard to knock it off. Shut the fuck up. Leave me alone.
Exactly. How rude. but I've learned that when it is a good opportunity and it's something, but I don't know how to do it and I'm scared, say yes. And then just break it down and figure out what you need to know to move forward and do the next thing.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
That's all you can do.
Exactly.
Right? And, I figure at this point it's I'm going to do the best I can. If I fall on my face, it's not the first time. It won't be the last time. And I'll get back up and keep going.
Oh, exactly. And no matter how good you build, you're still going to get a no. You're going to submit something that you're really passionate about, and somebody else is going to say, "Yeah, no, thanks."
Right.
And you have to say, that doesn't mean I'm bad.
Right.
It just means they weren't my audience.
Right.
And it's hard to tell yourself that.
Well, and it's not the right time. That's a lot of the things I've been working on the last year. There were a couple things that I thought were for sure goes. And then it kind of just fell apart. And so instead of being really down on myself, it was more of it wasn't meant to happen right now.
Right.
If it happens, it happens. But I got so much on my plate already.
Oh, and how do you do it with 2 little kids? Oh my gosh.
Don't ask. Sometimes my littlest one is almost 4, and I just want to duct tape him to the wall. He is such a little monster. He's adorable, but he's a monster.
Oh, well, and they're 4. I mean, I could tell you some stories of my older one at 4. Oh.
My mom could tell you stories about me at 4, and so
really?
I figure they're better than I am, so I'm okay.
You're okay. And you know what? I mean, they're why you're doing it in a way, too.
Yeah,
And
really
think
is.
about what you're showing your daughter.
Yeah.
You're showing her that you can make your own life. You can craft a life. You don't have to stay in a lane.
Yeah.
You can craft a life, and it doesn't have to be in crafts.
No.
But you can craft a life that works for you.
Right.
You don't have to just follow a path.
Exactly. Well, and she wants to go into a career that is very male-focused, very male-dominated, and not very friendly to female people of that profession. And so showing her, or at least I hope I'm trying to show her that, hey, I'm doing this scary thing, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
Yep. It's funny, my daughter, she's an organic farmer.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. And what's really fun, it's a community-based farm.
Yeah.
And so she's I don't know, the assistant manager of the farm, and her whole crew is female.
Wow.
And they're all, now think about it, these are people harvesting organic vegetables. It is
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
Back-breaking.
All college-educated women. And they're all dedicated, because what they do is they have a CSA.
Yeah.
So they have a program, CSA, people buy into it, they get their share every week. But they also have a mission to donate a certain percentage of their food for people who are challenged in finding enough food every day. And it's so important to them.
Yeah.
And so it's just an interesting thing, and to watch what people do. We don't all have to jump into corporate America, but
Right.
we can if we want to.
If we want.
Right, but there's so many avenues for us that we just have to be open to what fuels our passion.
Open up to the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing her at this time of year, because all of her Instagram feed is, look at my little babies, little plants, little green plants.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
I know,
I
it's
love
adorable.
that.
It's adorable.
Well, Kate, I hate to cut us off, but we are past our time.
Oh no!
So I know, but it's been so enjoyable to be able to
it's so
talk and deep dive into you.
Thank you. Well, I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yeah.
This is so fun. And, outside of just our Monday thing,
Right,
and,
and being
meeting
able to
in
kind of just
person.
hang out. Yes, yes, I love that. Are
Mhm.
you going to the dinner for craft industry on Thursday night?
I didn't sign up.
Okay.
I don't know if I can still go.
They're selling tickets at the door, so
Okay.
you can come.
Okay.
Yep. But
All right.
anyway, enough of my jitter jatter. Twitch, we are going to be signing off. I will be back tomorrow, an hour earlier. I know it's unusual. I'm getting morning streams, but I'm in Chicago. Okay, you can bear with me. But anyway, thank you all for hanging out and getting to know Kate and just hanging out with me. You guys are fantastic. I love you guys, and I will see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys.